What's up, guys?
Welcome back to Chakra, OutLoud.
What we say.
And you don't get upset.
Let's go. Today we're going to welcome Lisa.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
We are back with another episode on the pod. Next weekend we have Sip and Paint coming up, spring themed. Once again, hosted by Mr. Smiley.
Right here.
After that, we will have a Brian Day, I guess you can say, a horror day flash. It will be ranging from small pieces to medium-sized pieces. Another trailer will be coming out today. We have another person that will be participating, and tomorrow the forms will go up for that.
Somebody else is participating with Brian?
We have John. John will be piercing
Yeah, that's awesome.
John will be piercing on the horror day as well. So make sure to look out for that.
Congratulations to John, too, for piercing, seriously.
That was
Yeah.
super
We're
exciting
sticking
to
through the
see.
whole program, doing the
Yeah.
apprenticeship, and now being here piercing.
Yeah.
And you also got a piercing with John as well, right?
I did. I got my second holes done with John. It was chill, yeah. I was very impressed how he was able to handle my daughter as she had an anxiety attack in his chair. Yeah, it was cool to see that level of professionalism and trying to like calm her down.
Good.
Because I would have been like, go home. You're done.
You also got something as well.
Yes, I did. Last night I got my second holes as well. And they feel great.
Yeah.
The process was really easy. He made it really comfortable. I never thought I would get many piercings, but now seeing John go through it and also different things that he's put together have actually inspired me to get more piercings, which is really awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Smiley, plan on getting any piercings anytime
I want to
soon?
get my septum done
Yeah, that'd be cool.
before July.
Right?
Something different.
Be nice.
I think it'll look great.
Speaking of July, at the end of July, the 22nd to the 24th, Chakra Loud will be taking Rolling Loud head on. Lay Smiley will be performing. Want to get a little bit into that.
It's something weird, something different, something new. It's something out of the ordinary. It's something big. It's life-changing. Whether it's good or bad, it's life-changing nonetheless. I mean, just for the fact that I get to write this down as one of my stories in my book, I think it's pretty awesome. For me to tell my grandchildren that I did this is fucking awesome.
100%.
I'm definitely looking forward because our intention was actually to go there and, promote the business, but now I could do it in a major level, even bigger than before, which is freaking awesome because if, I blow up and become bigger, so does everybody at the shop, which is just how it works, you know what I mean? So this is the inner workings in the background of Chakra Tattoos, things that people don't know.
Right, and I think that's how we got to where we are now. That's how we became more of like a popular or mainstream or whatever shop is by doing things that make you happy. You know what I mean? And he wanted to help in a way, and it kind of blew him up. And in turn,
so me doing all those free tattoos, all the sacrifices of free tattoos that I was doing, allowed everybody at the shop to actually be booked.
yeah, the way that we are now.
Because they weren't booking like that before COVID. That's not what was happening. And then the whole Floyd, Floyd, the situation.
the George Floyd?
The George
Okay.
Floyd that happened. And I'm like, you know what, let me put my part in there. Let me do free tattoos. I don't give a shit if I don't get paid.
Okay.
I just want to change things.
Yeah.
And that just triggered something throughout media. And then, TV came and then everybody started knowing about Chakra. And then people want to get tattooed here because of that.
Yeah.
So I was going to say I personally wasn't here for that. So how did that kind of start? How did that go about? Did you put on like an ad during that time of like, hey, listen, if anyone has...
I was already doing that.
Okay.
So people think that I started doing that because of the George Floyd shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was already doing that. We just hyped it up more. We're like, you know what? I'm actually gonna do a post, and we promoted it, and it started getting bigger to the fact that we started getting people like reply back, and then she was like, I'm gonna hit up NJ.com to see if they pick it up or whatever, and they did, and then from her went to like CNN and fucking.
It just took
all
off.
the
Yeah, it
media,
took off by itself.
the Huffington
Fox News, Channel 11.
That's wild.
People from California were hitting me up.
Yeah.
News from
Oh,
Minnesota.
the New York Post.
The New
He
York
was like
Post.
everywhere.
From the artist side and also the business side as well, how did they feel going through that moment? Like, did you guys know something was coming up? Or
So when I had the initial conversation with the lady from NJ.com, I was like, yes, this is gonna put us like on for New Jersey.
yeah, put us on that.
So I was instantly like, yeah, this is happening. What I didn't expect is the spread it had, right? So to see an article written on him on CNN.com, which is something that I used to sit at my desk and read every day, was like,
Fire.
oh
It was
shit.
a surreal moment.
It was a very surreal moment, and then the business side of it, because that's the emotional side, right? That's the love
Yeah,
of what we
100%.
do. But the business side was like, oh shit, we're gonna need help. Like, oh my God. Because I wanna say as soon as it dropped, like the article dropped on NJ.com and it started getting like that traction, not only for like the cover-ups that he was offering, just in general, people were like, yes, I wanna go there.
I want to come to Chakra.
So it was honestly like a really, really cool experience. It was also cool to see because since we've never done this before, this is our first time. It was cool to see it trickle down, right? So it wasn't like just because they saw his name and his face that they weren't like, no, they have great work too.
Yeah.
They're like, oh snap, the whole place is awesome.
That's fire.
Yeah, it was. That's why we have you, because of all of that. If all of that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
So July to me, even though it's
that
not
next
happening
step.
to anybody, and it's actually happening to me physically. I know it's that next step that I need to take in order to promote the business, because in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to do outrageous things,
Right.
things that ordinary people won't do. So everybody asks me like, aren't you gonna be scared? Aren't you gonna be? It's like, but that's your mentality, and that's why you are where you're at right now, because you think that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm free, and I realize that fear and embarrassment doesn't exist. It's all an emotion. It's just a perception of what you think people think about you. You know what I mean? And it's like, how do you know that?
No, 100%.
So I'm just gonna go out there and do what I have to do. You know what I mean?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah.
After that, we'll hop back into convention season. October,
October.
we'll be at
Virginia
Anime Con.
first.
Yep, in
Anime Con.
Virginia and Richmond.
Now, do you know if it's like strictly anime, or if we have clients in Virginia, can they come see us? Is it just strictly anime?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it has to be like it's just anime,
Anime.
because it's not just go to fucking Philadelphia and you know what I mean. That's-
Yeah, I was just.
They were trying to make probably their own little
Yeah,
thing. you know?
probably
Yeah.
like
Just anime
specifically
pieces.
anime.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not owned by Villain Arts, right?
No, it's like an independent group. It's like if Smiley and I wanted to start a convention and pick a niche and
Yeah.
kind of go that way.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
We have Lisa on the show today. Lee, I'm very curious. How did you find out about Chakra? We just went through how they blew up on the news. They were getting all these promotions. How did you find Chakra?
So I started with Chakra right before COVID hit. Probably the October before everything shut down. So I was here about like 6 months, going through my apprenticeship, going through the motions, learning what I could learn at that time. And I was enjoying it, and then COVID hit, and we all shut down, and it was really unfortunate. Obviously, we were all quarantined for a while. We reopened in the end of June, early July.
It was like
Early July. So I had stopped in and kind of helped them reset up the shop and everything after they had gotten new floors while everyone was quarantined, which was a great time to do both things too. So I kind of came in, helped them set everything up, but unfortunately it was still like too restricted for me to come back because I wasn't technically an employee yet. So I didn't come back until October. So I kind of missed the craziness after the news came out, but I did get to see it on the other end, which was really cool. So the first 6 months I was involved with the shop and everything, but then to see it from the outsider perspective after being on the inside was really cool, because I knew the inside, but then seeing how it was blowing up on the other end of things was like, oh wow, like it was really awesome to see, and it made me so much more eager to come back, and I was just like let's go, I'm ready. So it was really fun
We
coming
literally
back.
had the news inside the shop recording. Remember that? You
I
were
do,
here?
yeah. After I came back, we had them again.
Even after.
Yeah.
Months after. Yeah.
That's wild.
We were just recording inside.
Just a nice little
Yeah.
checkup. So with your apprenticeship, I wanted to know, what was one of your favorite things about the apprenticeship? What was one of your least favorite things about the apprenticeship?
One of my favorite things about the apprenticeship was probably the style in how it was being taught and learned at the same time. It seemed very one-on-one, very personable, so I felt like I could ask questions,
Right,
and
yeah.
it was very open. It was very just like person-to-person type thing, a little less than like a teacher, like professor vibe, It was
Right,
really
right.
like laid back, which made me feel really comfortable being a novice,
Yeah.
So coming into here, it was less intimidating too,
Oh,
more
that's
like
awesome.
welcoming.
Yes.
that's
See,
awesome.
and that's how I like to project. I don't like to intimidate people because I know how that could be. So I don't like to just be like a fucking professor where it's Mister as soon as or professor whatever. It's like no, we're both human. Let's get over that shit.
Yeah.
This is what you want to learn. This is what I have to teach you. Simple as that. You know what I mean? It's just
Curious, when did you know that, like you said, I think in a couple podcasts ago, you wanted to learn not learn how to teach, but you found that you liked to teach more than you were starting to tattoo. When did you learn that you wanted to teach, and why do you have such a big love to teach? I'm curious.
the reason I love to teach is because I was never taught.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So I feel like there was a lot of things that I should have learned growing up that would have made me into a better person, a better man. So basically everything, like who you see me as a person is I'm self-developed with the help from my wife and my kids based on my environment around and the people around me. So I am who I am now because of all the experience I've had, but I would have never gone through these experiences if I would have been taught certain things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what, I feel like people should learn the right way of doing things based on my mishaps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can I make your life better? Because mine's weren't at the beginning.
Yeah. How can I make the path a little
Yeah, so
easier
I was
for you?
like, yeah, I want to definitely teach people, man. It's cool.
It's fire. What did you think of the program when you first got into it, and then what were your thoughts throughout?
So when I first got in, I understood the structure of it. There's certain milestones, certain amount of hours, then you move on to the next stage and this and that. So it was set up pretty easy for you to follow along. And the best thing about the structure for me was there's certain things that you have to work on, like lettering, you know, certain things like that. But other than that actual style, you can be really free with what you want to dive into, what kind of designs you want to do. You know, so there were certain requirements, but you can be free within those requirements, which was awesome for different types of artists. If you want to get into this, you're not locked into old school or new school. You know, like you could really dive into whatever kind of style, even if it's up and coming. You know, dive into it, see where it goes.
100%. And once again, how important is it to let an artist be free within their styles and their designs and not limit them to a certain restriction?
Well, I wouldn't want to be limited. So that's one thing that happens sometimes in like art school is that you're kind of limited because you have to conform to a certain style or the way the process is. And then what happens is your creativity gets taken away. Because now that you're about to paint out, there's these orders. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to before knowing all those orders, you just do whatever the fuck you want. And that creates art,
Gotcha.
whatever you think it is.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So I don't want to limit everybody, but I think people put a limit on themselves. So I don't have to limit anybody. You know what I'm saying? My thing here is trying to break that limit that they have. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm on top of them, fucking ace. I'm like, yo, dude, use bigger needles so you get your pieces done quicker so you can do this. But if he's not confident in using it, I can't fucking, there's nothing else I can do. You know what I mean? Here's the river, my man. You say you're thirsty.
So for me, I learned a lesson many years ago. Smiley and I come from Jersey City, and in our city, there was two really good artists. One black and gray artist and one color artist. He was the color artist. He had so much respect in our city. And so I remember like sitting with him and we were going through like Ink Master, right? That they had just reached out and this and the other. And I said to him, I was like, what these other artists have is that they specialize on one thing over and over again. And I told him, I was like, your thing is color. Why don't you focus on your color and really like develop that?
Yeah.
This guy already has black and gray. And he was like, what you mean? I was like, well, you know. And he was like, you're saying I can't do black and gray? And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. He was like, you think this guy is better than my black and gray? I was like, you know, yeah, I do think. And he was like, say less.
That competitive edge kicked
Bet.
in.
Say less. And
Bet.
so he refused to have that limit put upon him. And he was like, you think I can't do black and gray? Watch this. And he went off.
Yeah.
For like 3 years, he went off on black and gray.
So I have a question for you. I remember we had a conversation of, I wanted to start it off, I wanted to be the best black and gray artist. What made you take the jump from wanting that to becoming one of the best color artists?
Well, I saw how easy it was to do color. It's, okay, I did black and gray. When I started doing color, it made so much sense to me. Like, I didn't even have to think. Black and gray, I was like, okay, what's the next tone? Okay, damn, too dark. I should have done, wait, I gotta go back. Hold on, let me fix this. It's too dark in this area.
Gotcha.
Fuck, now I gotta add white. Damn, but it wasn't white there. Now the whole thing has to have white. So there was so much, and color is like, if this is fucking blue, that's blue. That's where it goes.
Yeah.
Orange goes here. You know what I mean? It's right there. So how much more easier can it get? It's just the process of putting in color that's a little bit
More challenging.
And keeping it vibrant and saturated, right? Because I think what makes your color stand out is exactly that. Like Lisa also has really good color. You just don't have an opportunity yet to really do more of that. So what style is it that you prefer?
Ooh, right now I'm kind of teetering a little bit of both. I'm really liking the ornamental, lacy style, very feminine, very airy, I call it, where there's some open spaces there. So for the women that don't want a really heavy tattoo or heavy feeling tattoo, it's a great style to kind of get into, and I enjoy doing it. So right now that's kind of like my preference, but I do always love color. I was always an oil painter, like outside of tattooing. So I have a knack for color. It drives me crazy because I'll like go crazy with like color mixing and color theory and things like that. So it definitely trains my brain differently. And it's something that I'm still going to dive into. It just, with the certain clientele that we have and certain artists that we have. Right now, I'm the baby of the shop. So I'm still taking the smaller pieces and things like that. But once I start to grow as well, I definitely want to do color and maybe like a vibe or a blend of the ornamental and the color. Yeah.
So yes, you are technically the baby tattoo artist, but girl, you are booked.
I know.
Yeah, how does that feel?
It's surreal. So I've been doing this year and a half now. Well, the summer will be a year and a half. And it's surreal to be, my Saturdays I think are booked out for the rest of the year. And that is, I'm like unbelievably blessed. I like kiss the floor every day. I'm like, this is insane because this is also something that I wanted for so long, that the industry is a little hard to break into. And now feeling secure, like, hey, I broke into it. You guys gave me that opportunity. You saw my potential and you've stuck with me through it as well. Hey, Bri. And so now like being in it and I have my foot in the door, it's like, oh, hell yeah. Like, let's take off. Where are we going now?
So now this is where the focus come in, right? Because it's a blessing. Fucking awesome. As a business owner, it's fucking great that everybody's booked or whatever, right? But it's also a curse in disguise because it's going to take you longer to find your style.
Right.
Because you're only doing appointments based on what the client wants. This is why I was telling you guys, you need to put certain people throughout the year that it's a free client that you're going to do a branding piece of your style alone, so then you can start pushing it out there. So then when the new year comes, then you can have nothing but your new styles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're overbooked, you know how long it's going to take you for you to get out of that fucking circle of doing what people want and just start actually developing your style. And then once you develop your style, that's when you really make the money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Literally, because when people come with ideas, those ideas come with a certain amount of price. It is what it is. Now the ideas that I have, they come with one price. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to your idea that comes at a certain budget. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're dealing with budget, with people's budget. Right now I'm dealing with my price. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get them to their prices. So I'm like, if you do free pieces here and there, by the following year, you're already prepared. It's like you're forecasting your own future. And so you'll be prepared so then you can start booking for the day. You know
I will say that our apprenticeship program is, yes, it gives a lot of freedom, but it comes with a lot of pressure. And by that, I mean like the standards are high for you to succeed, right? Now, he is an equal opportunity employer, so he will give everyone an opportunity. I am not necessarily, an equal opportunity employer. However, if you can get through his apprenticeship program, then it's guaranteed that you're gonna eat.
You're gonna fucking make money. It's just what it is.
For him, like he has said several times, like he wasn't doing this because of the money. Like he genuinely enjoys what he does, and he enjoys the development of it, right? So he is pressing you. Your entire you can be here 5 years and he's pressing you for you to get to that next level.
Yeah.
But he's not only saying like, hey, get to that next level. He's like, okay, look, I leveled up. You need to level up. Like we together, we could really
This is the
get
steps
to
I
where.
took.
I'm constantly leveling up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm constantly like beating myself up and pushing myself all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that that's honestly like it's cool, but I can also understand how it can really take a toll on somebody who's new to like this type of passion, I guess. You know what I mean? If you're used to like a regular 9 to 5 or whatever hours you're used to working, like this isn't it. We absolutely require your apprenticeship to. It's a lifestyle for
It's
you
a fucking
now.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because when you go home and design, and you wake up in the morning and you're talking to somebody about tattoos, and you're going somewhere and talking to you, that's a lifestyle. It's not a fucking hobby. You know what I mean?
It's a lifestyle, and so kudos to you for being
Yeah.
able to like
And
create a
working
new
that and-
lifestyle for
Thank
yourself.
you. Yeah, it definitely it's an adjustment. What I didn't anticipate, because I was going through the motions. I'm learning. You know, I'm doing all the things that I need to. But then outside of the tattoo shop, I started saying like I'm a tattoo artist, and at first I was like, wait, what? I am now, and then the people's reaction and the conversations that I was having was changing too, and I was like, oh, I had to remember what I learned, and you know, just like putting what I actually learned into real life situations out there, not just at the shop with my clients, was definitely a change. And you know, my daily life has changed too, with what time I get home, what time I eat dinner is different, you know, everything. The time I get up in the morning, what you do on the weekends is different now. But if this is something that you want, then you're going to take all of that and you're going to embrace it. And honestly, like all the changes in my life and how it's adjusted, it's all for the better. And I love it so much more now. And
that's awesome.
I have moments still where I like sit back and I'm like, this is the life that you wanted, and you're right
Living
now
it.
creating it. You're creating it, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think that is the coolest thing, knowing that you had an intent to do something and right in front of you it starts happening. You're like, oh my God.
It's happening.
Like
Yeah.
what I said is actually it's happening.
Yeah.
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 And to sit back and have that realization keeps you grateful and keeps you, I guess, like manifesting more.
Yeah.
Because I saw it happen. I'm like, ooh, okay. So now
Now
what?
what's
Now
next?
what? Right. Okay. Let's keep this going. And it's really cool. Yeah.
Speaking of the what's next, and kind of going back to your point of leveling up, Smiley, how do you find yourself doing so? Because I know
There was a truck passing by. What was that?
I said, speaking of like what's for you next and leveling up, like you said before. Like when I first got here, they said within the first 2 weeks, they were like, yo, Smiley wasn't tattooing this fast like 3-4 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? That was
He's
the first thing.
flying
So,
now through tattoos.
What I'm curious of is how do you find yourself continuing to level up? How do you take that next step in your path, in your career?
Dude, it's almost like I give myself challenges throughout the day. Every single tattoo, when I sit there, even though nobody knows, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna give you an hour to do this one entire outline and an hour and a half to do the shading. If you pass that, you suck. Literally, that's my brain. That is my brain every fucking day, dude. And I'm like, all right, how can I do better? How can I do better? Because there's just science to everything. There's a solution. There's an answer to a question. So my thing is, how can I guess my process in tattoo is like, how can you do a tattoo quicker, the same quality for the same amount of price?
Gotcha.
and less pain.
And less pain. Because now the way I tattoo, seriously, if you get tattooed by me, bro, like a bigger piece, it's not as painful as other tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm using needles, the way my needles feel is they feel smooth. Other needles feel sharp. You know what I'm saying? I figured out a way to actually work. Yeah, so, yeah, dude, constantly seeing my needle, the way it hit, the way the skin bounces, everything, combination of everything, because it's almost like a little universe that you're looking at. You're in like your own little thing. So you're like an octopus, because you're like cleaning, paper towel, this, high, this, that, cleaning, high, you know what I mean? Changing TV.
Keep track of this arm,
Yeah,
that
you're
arm.
doing this, you're like this, and your body's in the middle, you know what I mean? So I love the art of figuring things out and, you know, how to make it better,
That's dope.
how to be innovative,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
I'm not just sitting there and be like, okay, another tattoo. I'm like, okay, how can I do the color better? How can I do the lining quicker? How can I give less pain? You know what I mean?
So what I saw in a video one time, I can't remember the artist's name off the top of my head, but he said the best tattoo artists in the industry are the best problem solvers. Would you guys agree or disagree with that?
I agree. I absolutely agree. So he books by the day, and he found that it was like people were just like in pain, and it sucked, and he solved that problem for himself because not only did he speed up his process, but while he's tattooing, like honestly, I just got tattooed. It was great. Like it was, I mean, obvious, it's a fucking tattoo. I'm not saying it's completely painless, but I'm saying in comparison to where he was, let's say I've been getting tattooed by Smiley for 12 years. You know what I mean? Where he was 10 years ago, it's like, this is a fucking walk in the park, bro.
Yeah, so I know when to
Yeah.
put the numbing spray, how much of it, like, I'm, like, consistent with it. So you have a consistent pain throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
Where the tattoo might feel like a 6 or 7.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
not so much like those 8s where you're like, oh my God, I can't
Yeah,
anymore.
or 10.
You know what
where
I
it's
mean?
like, oh my God,
Yeah.
can't do it, stop
It's
it.
definitely more bearable for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in terms of that, that is, I'm still kind of balancing out that pattern and that structure of like when you use the numbing sprays and, you know,
All the time.
right, all the time. So definitely still developing that knowledge, the further knowledge, as I'm getting
Formula.
faster.
You're developing your formula.
Yeah, that the octopus arms are learning all the things still. But what has pushed me to get faster and better at different times is trust in myself. So a lot of times my brain hasn't caught up to my hand, and I know I can do it, but my brain is limiting.
Yeah.
And it's breaking out of that like, I have to pull this line this slow for it to be straight. I don't anymore. I can pull it faster and have the confidence to do it. And a lot of times I'll put out designs or I'll even design a client's piece bigger or more intricate than we talked about within the same amount of time that I have booked for. So that'll push me to do more than I anticipated with that time.
Right.
So always pushing the limit with my timing. Flash Day really helped with my timing too, because I put out more intricate flashes.
And that's what we actually do.
That's why we
to
do
get the
flash
speed
days.
faster.
Yeah, is to like put that pressure, because the reality is that the faster you work and you maintain the quality, the more clientele you can have. The more clientele you can have, the better life you can, like, your lifestyle can be better.
So I've asked them before how important it is to host a flash day for an artist. On the artist side as well, how important is it to have a flash day?
I honestly love them.
Yay.
Yeah.
You don't hear that often.
I really enjoy the flash days. I come from a very fast-paced work environment to begin with, so having a flash day is almost
It's like you're better when you're under
merging.
pressure, because it's like being at the bar when you used to
Yeah.
work at.
Yep.
Well, it's like, yo, you needed this, and then you're like
Yeah.
going here, and everything is awesome.
Yeah,
right?
I bartended, so I'm used to having the 8
Yeah.
arms going.
I think that actually contributed to your success as a tattoo artist was the fact that you were already used to like pressure and fast
And
pace.
dealing with people
And
under
people.
pressure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I can put on like a happy face for every client, and I'm used to doing that. It doesn't really feel too fake to me because I'm
Yeah.
I'm
You're
pretty
in that
natural.
moment.
It's
right,
natural.
You're in that
right. You know,
moment.
like I've been doing this for so long. It's just customer service at
Yeah.
Yeah,
that point.
that's all it is.
Yeah, so I really love the flash days. They push me every time I do one. I'll put out a different style of designs and see, ooh, what are the clients looking for this time around? You know, so I have a lot of different tests I do through my different flash days. So that's why I really enjoy it, because then I test myself in different ways, and my designs and my speed and my quality and, you know, how I interact with the clients even, you know, so a
Because
lot of
sometimes you're
things.
tired and you've seen 5 people already. You're like, oh, my back fucking hurts. I'm tired. Like, I want to be done with this already. But you still got to give that person that same experience as like
Hi,
client
how
number
are you?
1. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Well, speaking on that, you've talked about keeping the same attitude you walked into the tattoo, the same attitude you are wrapping up the tattoo. How do you maintain that attitude
Yeah,
throughout
bro.
the entire piece?
Because I understand, like, I've been doing it for years, right? So I understand that you get cranky, you don't eat, whatever, and then the tattoo you decided to fucking design has more lines than you thought when you started doing it. So if you fucking knew all that, why are you gonna get cranky and shit like that? So I'm like, let me just keep my good attitude throughout the whole process, because you can see it through the tattoo.
Yeah.
You can see the difference when somebody's feeling some type of way through the tattoo as opposed to being extremely happy.
Yeah.
So if I keep my personality, my attitude throughout the whole thing, I'll have a consistent, whole vibrant, nice tattoo.
I also think it's cool that you can kind of like transmute that energy in the shop when you see that one of your artists is feeling down. You definitely somehow you come through and like with like an energy boost.
Yeah, just
and
pick
kind
'em
of
up.
get everybody back into like.
This is
like
fucking
the-
hilarious. When they be cranky, I be going to a room and they're cranky and they look like they want to sweat, but they can't because they're just fucking over the top. And I just fucking laugh. I sit back and laugh, first of all, because they used to have it to me. And I'm like, all right, calm your ass down. It's only a fucking tattoo, all right? Eat a slice or something.
It's only a day. You'll
Yeah,
get through
like-
Take
it.
a break,
Like,
get some
chill
food.
out.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I'll be like, yo, hey, take a shot, bro, because you look cranky as hell. You know, that had a little bit too tight, my G. You know what I mean? Like, calm down. You did that design, bro.
Lisa, how does it feel being the only female tattoo artist at a tattoo shop? I mean, you have female
It's like being
coworkers,
amongst brothers.
but
It's like being amongst brothers and shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That part I'm kind of used to. I always had more guy friends than girlfriends.
Yeah.
So that dynamic I'm totally cool with. It's kind of interesting.
But it doesn't feel like you're the only girl.
No.
You feel
because
like
there's
you feel
Megan,
like
there's
you're a
either
human.
Jody.
Yeah.
You just feel like you're a human there.
Yeah, I don't really
Yes,
think
but
that
for the
it's like
clients,
split that way.
there's a girl at the
Yes. So I do enjoy having like a motherly energy and a very like nurturing, like come here, I'll take care of you type energy.
Yeah.
So when my clients come, say with something really personal to them, something that like they really don't feel comfortable sharing with other people. I've had so many clients come up to me and be like, I really wanted to work with a female because I've had trauma in my life with men and this and that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I got you. I got you. Come to me. I got you. You'll be comfortable. You know, we'll be relaxed.
awesome.
You won't have to worry about anything. So I enjoy having that role. I don't need to be the only one having that role.
no.
For sure. But I do enjoy it. Yeah.
I don't think we talked about this. So before we head into the halftime break, we have someone from the business side of the tattoo industry. We also have an artist that was on her apprentice journey trying to get into a shop. How hard is it to be a female in the tattoo industry?
Look, I come from a complete different industry. I knew nothing of the tattoo industry, and I was like, "We're gonna do this." They fucking hated me. Like, who do you think you are? Where the hell did you come from? And so even now, I find that there are male clients that just straight up don't want to deal with me. They don't want to talk to me. I feel like the industry has definitely grown in ways where women are holding more positions, whether it be on like the vendors side or like the hosts side. You could see more women starting to get involved in like the operations of the industry, but it's fucking hard. It's incredibly sexist, right? And that was my thing. Like when I met him, I told him like, I don't date artists. Like that's not really something that I do because, you know, I did.
But then you also gotta like put into perspective the bitches that be walking around with G-strings.
So
at
part
conventions
two
and
of
shit
that
like
is
which makes
that-
it raunchy as well because there's women that completely volunteer to be these type of women.
Yes, and it
which
sucks.
give a bad perception to everyone
About tattooed women. Tattooed women and women who tattoo are overly sexualized in the tattoo industry. I think in society as a whole. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I feel like tattooed women and female tattoo artists were immediately like perceived as either being more promiscuous or whatever the case may be. And it's like, I fucking like tattoos and I want to do my job and I want to do it well and I want the respect that I've earned for like what I've accomplished, whether it be like a professional tattoo artist who's there to fucking tattoo. Like if this lady is dressed or not dressed and then there is one next to her that is dressed, neither of them are coming on to you. Do me a favor, bro, and treat them both with respect. You know what I mean? Like whether they have their asses out or not, to me, I don't think that that's like a thing of respect. You be free in who you are, limitless, right? So be limitless in that, in all of that. But I don't think that should open the door for disrespect.
She got a fat old ass though.
My experience has probably doesn't have as much history to it, but what I've experienced is definitely hard getting an apprenticeship as a female with no experience. I was really grateful when I came in and interviewed with you two, how it wasn't intimidating and how it wasn't like look down your nose at you, and it could have been other shops do that to everybody, but it also seemed to me like it was because I was female too. If they were a more male-dominated shop, definitely would make them like
Like you're not as
turn
worthy.
me away, right?
Yeah, like you're not worthy of it.
Right, like, nah, you ain't got what it takes. Like, they just, like, looked me up and down, like, instantly judged me and was like, nah. And I was like, okay, I'll keep looking because I'm determined. And, like, if that's not the vibe I'm looking for, then I'm not going for it. So that was my experience getting into it as a female. What I've noticed at conventions is you definitely get treated differently and like respected differently. Not necessarily me, but what I observed is definitely everything that you were just saying and going into. The positive side of it is that I have seen a lot more female-owned shops opening up that, on one hand, could also be seen as sexist if they're only hiring females, but I think there needs to be balance in the industry right now. So I think it's great that you're seeing more female-owned shops and more female hires out there now, because we need a shift. It's been so male-dominated for so long, and women are just as good artists.
And he pushes for that. He really wanted to make it inclusive to women so that, because he understands.
I got daughters too.
And it was hard for him as a man to get an opportunity. As a woman, he fully understood that it was like, slim to none.
And then you got like pioneers of the industry, like fucking Ink Mag, putting bad bitches in front of their covers. And every time they post a cover of a magazine, it's of a hot chick in bikini with tattoos. What has to be that? Why couldn't she be dressed in like a fucking Renaissance type of thing, tatted up? Something very artistic, something different. Why couldn't you show a woman in business suit with tattoos? You know what I'm saying? It's all about perception. And these are the people that are actually pushing for these agendas and shit.
I do feel, however, that there has been a very large shift in the industry over the last 10 years. I can definitely see there being more respect being shared amongst colleagues in the industry. 10 years ago, it was fucking wild. It was like the fucking wild, wild west out there. And now I'm starting to see like that more. I also think it's like the newer generation
It's less
that's tattooing.
raunchiness,
The newer generation that's tattooing is really like passionate about their creative expression. Yeah. And I can see a lot of that.
Because I can imagine a few years before I came into the industry, how wild it was. Because when I got in it,
it's fucking wild.
It was fucking wild. The tattoo parties and the tattoo conventions that I used to go to, holy shit.
Lit.
Like, wow. It made me be like, yeah, I love this industry. Like, put it that way. Like, oh my fucking God, this is it. But then I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Because you have these people that are tattoo rock stars. They do it because the sex, the money, and the drugs. That's what they do it for. You know
Lisa, what
saying?
time is your appointment?
12.
It's way past that.
Is it really? No, I'm sorry, 1.
Oh,
One.
okay.
All right, on that note, we're going to head to the halftime break. We'll be back in a second.
Okay, sorry.
Welcome back, guys. Let's do it. Halftime.
Welcome back. Cecily,
Hey.
I'm very curious. When you first started off on your tattooing journey, did you envision yourself where you're at right now back then?
I'd say I had dreams of being here. For me personally, it's always been a little hard to see too far down the line. I think just because I've had some really crazy shit happen in my life that's tripped that up, that I'm just like, shorter goals. So I envisioned myself going towards the style that I am now. So it's really like a blessing to see that I'm there now. So I guess, yes, I did kind of see where I was going to go, and that I'm here now.
Did you think you'd do it so quickly?
No. So especially starting out, you're not perfect when you start out, for sure. I had a long way to go, but I think I progressed pretty quickly.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you. So
It's like once you got it, you got it.
yeah, and then I feel myself level up every so often, like you, Smiley. When I started Ashley's pieces, Ashley is John's girlfriend. I started her pieces with the ornamental style that I'm like trying to go into a little bit more. And she's a great client to kind of fill up the arm with that style that I want to do.
Loves it,
yeah, she loves it. I love it. And I'm like, game on, let's do it. And now I'm definitely using her as like my model for other pieces. But starting her piece really leveled me up. And now as I move on past that, so we first did the one piece in January, and ever since then I've kind of felt like my sharpness with the lines and the fastness of my lines kind of level up. So I leveled up then. I leveled up last summer when I was doing the flash days. That kind of helped me out too. So I felt, every so often a level up, which is like great, and it keeps me pushed to the next thing that I envision myself to, so I'll level up and then I'll envision like, okay, where else do I see myself going with this? And then I level up to there, and then I envision more, and then I level up to there. So it's really cool to now look back and be like, yeah, I envision myself here, and I'm here, and I'm going to envision myself there, and I'm going to get there. Yeah.
So exactly, what is next for Miss Lee? What is next for Miss Cosmic Lee? What do you see yourself in the next year, next 3 years, next 5?
Definitely still with Chakra. I still, would love to grow here. Definitely want to develop within the style that I'm doing my own style of it. So that is really what I'm trying to kind of dissect and decipher and play around with, is how am I going to put my touch into this style now? Because anyone can kind of like pick this up and run with this style, but I want my twist to be different. So that's kind of like where I see like me in 5 years, is kind of figuring that part out and having enough experience by then, having enough clientele by then to get there.
Nice.
I think it would be cool if you start incorporating that color. Like you said, I haven't seen that done. I think that would be a nice little twist for your clients.
Yeah, a little bit of like realism color in with the ornamental style, like, because realism color is definitely my niche. So I'd love to merge the two.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Mr. Rapper?
Definitely like fucking multimillionaire. And one of my goals for all of the artists to own their actual shop, and for us to help them open up each shop. You know what I'm saying? With their own artists and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
That's my goal for everybody to grow, man. In the next 5 years, I'm all about growth and shit like that. So I'm not planning on being here at this shop because I'm probably gonna be doing something much bigger and major. But this is why I want everybody to have their own shop and stuff like that. Still work and do their thing and be free. Basically.
Pass the seeds on.
Yeah,
Let
absolutely.
us grow the little seedlings.
And go on to do bigger, and you know what I'm saying?
Because then they're gonna be like us when they own their shop. Then they're gonna be like this with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Then they're gonna know what it felt like to be where we're at right now. All the fucking stress and shit. Wait till they start paying taxes and shit. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna stop by. They're gonna have cranky faces. Take a break. Relax.
Last question of the day, Lee. If you could look back on your life timeline, where would you go back, and what would you say to a conversation to yourself?
That's deep, man. So do you want to know like what time frame I go back to as well? Okay. I'd probably go back to when I was in college, so not too long ago, but it was when I transitioned from a psych major to an art major, and really didn't have any idea of where I wanted to go with it. I just knew I wanted to do art for my life. So I would go back to then and tell her, it's going to take time, but it's all going to work out. Like, you are going to have your timeline, and that's going to be fine, and just roll with it. Don't force it. Don't get impatient with it. Your timeline is meant to happen that way. And I would give more encouragement like that. Be like, it's gonna get better. You're gonna get there. It's gonna get better.
Smiley?
Yeah, so I will go back at 22, and I would tell myself, do it. You know what I'm saying? Because at 22, I had a certain thought, and I didn't know if it was going to work or not because I didn't have nobody around me to actually, you know what I mean, support that thought. Like, you know what, just that shit's going to work. Let's do it, whatever. I would have gone back to myself and be like, yo, whatever you think in life, it's going to happen. It's going to work. Just do it, man.
Don't have any
and
doubt.
do it freely without no fear or nothing.
Very nice.
Just know that your life is going to be great.
Yeah.
I would have gone back to when I was 18. I was a teen mom, and I would have told myself, like, you got this. Like, go.
Yeah.
Do you.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, because that was obviously a very scary time. Like, fuck, how am I going to get out of this? How are we going to grow? How are we going to... And, like, like a day at a time. You know what I mean? And 18 years later, we're here, but fuck, we're here. You know what I mean? Like, we're good.
So this is why I'm such a risk taker, because people be like, oh, I wouldn't take that risk. But like, you take a risk, but there's always a solution and an answer. It's not like you just take a risk and it's over. That's it. It's just what you did. It was wrong. You should have done it. No, you're gonna figure it out. So when I first got like my first actual car that I worked for, it was a Cadillac, right? And it was like, how are you gonna pay for it? I was like, I don't know. Once I have it, I'm gonna look for the way to actually pay for it. And I did. I started doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I thought he was crazy. But, you know,
You
he made it work.
You obtained it, and then
And
you
he
solved
made
the
it
way
work.
to,
Yeah.
So like the whole music shit in July. I'm not a fucking performer. I've been sitting down in my shop over here tattooing people for like fucking 15 years.
But you perform every day in that chair. Every day you perform.
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying?
Every day.
It's not my main thing. So for me to actually go and do this, that's a risk taking, bro.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make it work. This is what it is. I've been writing. I've been listening to beats. I've been trying to put everything together in a matter of 2 months.
Yeah.
Act it out, perform it, get ready, and all this shit, and it's gonna fucking happen.
To the point, you're singing it.
Put on the show. Yeah, I'm working on some stuff right now.
That's exciting.
The only risk you shouldn't take in life is hopping
No
up,
risk, no Rari.
is hopping up on stage to try to stab Dave Chappelle.
Oh my
That's the only
God.
risk you shouldn't take. Me personally.
Yo.
Well, I just found this out this morning.
Yeah, so Dave Chappelle was performing, and this guy went up with like a fake gun and like tied a knife to it and rushed him to like try to stab Dave Chappelle, who was on stage with like Busta Rhymes and shit. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, so they broke this guy's arm in like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 pieces.
I would
And
too.
was like taken out in an ambulance and shit. But also like, ayo, why isn't
lucky he
security
didn't get shot.
up? I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like this guy has been like obviously stirring the pot since the Netflix thing, right? And so why doesn't he have better security? How does that
I mean,
happen?
you can have good security and just some motherfucker sneak on stage and just try to. It's just
Yeah,
it's like that naked
LA.
guy through the soccer field that the referees be trying to catch. There's always one, yo, and it's like
Streakers, is that what they're called?
yeah, streakers. So you just had like a stage streaker.
Almost sounds like a suicide.
But try to kill him.
Like why would you
Like,
go up
why
there
that?
and think that you're gonna get away
You
with
could
it
throw a cup of
either?
water, hit him with a bottle or something, and you would have got more out of that than you would a knife.
Yeah.
Yo,
Your
they
arms are
took him
broken.
out of like this. His arms were like
His arms
this
are
on the
dangling,
stretcher.
both of them.
Good.
Yeah, he looked like a fucking transformer.
Let him try that big body karate. He getting a chop to the
Bro.
neck. That has been the episode of the podcast today, guys. We are out. We'll see you guys next
See you
time.
guys next time.